Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Disthunder, and I feel like we're due some new content. Now, I don't know if y'all have heard about this, but HasLabs is going to be making a G.I. Joe classified HISS tank. Pretty crazy. And while I think, yeah, I'm going to need one of those, I probably need more, but I'm going to have to settle for one. Thought it might be a great excuse to get out my two custom versions that I made, I'm thinking 2016-ish. Now, I will be impressed if you recognize the fodder used here. The bodywork is from a Playmates Star Trek Next Generation shuttlecraft. I don't exactly remember the genesis of that idea, but it was me and my old pal from the Fouche Lestat talking about it. I can't remember if it was his idea, and I went, ooh, or if it was my idea, and he said, yeah, you should do that. Either way, he was instrumental in sourcing a couple of these, and then it was just a matter of bolting on some 20th anniversary HISS tank chassis with their rolling treads and their somewhat springy suspensions. From there, it's just a matter of clearing out a little bit more space for a 6-inch figure, since the Playmates Star Trek toys are usually, I think, 5.5. Getting those parts to bolt together, finding some cool-looking, somewhat futuristic dual cannons for the roof, and then I added some 40 mics on a chin turret underneath for anti-personnel. Then stickers, the usuals, and we were done. Now, instead of the HasLab version, I opted for a remote top turret without an open crow's nest in it because it was just simpler for this design. And let's be honest, an open air turret is kind of a dumb idea. I still think it looks awesome, but yeah, it makes more sense here. But that means there is room for one crew member in the front inside the canopy, and then there's a little bit of storage area underneath that turret for, say, cargo. You could put a litter in there for medevac. You could put one figure in there laying down without much trouble. There's actually rumble seats inside the back of the shuttle, but as you can see, the headspace is a bit of an issue. There is a box above that's, I think, where the electronics were in the original toy. There's that little springy suspension bounce that the 20th anniversary tank had. And for the top turret, it rotates 360 degrees and also will pivot on that top axis like for anti-aircraft cover. I brought a couple of the Cobra cycles out to give you a better idea of scale. At the time when I made these, I figured since the HISS tank is by definition a high-speed sentry tank, which makes it a scout or like a recon tank, a single-seat, smaller size, lightly armored but still moderately armed tank made good sense for that philosophy of use. That being said, I think the HasLab one will look good with these two in a sort of like a Panther with a Tiger II kind of comparison. We can call it like the heavy HISS in my personal canon or something. You've heard me say at least 100 times by now, no custom is ever really finished, and that's especially true of these because I didn't finish doing the cockpit. You can see he fits in there pretty comfortably though. Eventually, long-term goals would be to kind of spruce it up a little bit. I mean, nothing's going to look as good as the renders for the HasLab one, but I can give it a little something. You can see those rumble seats behind him there, by the way, that I was talking about earlier. So really, that space is good for cargo, not much else. One addition I definitely need to get put on here soon, though, would be a couple of handlebars on the outside for handholds for these guys to ride on the outside skids. You could put one on each side pretty comfortably. They don't even really compress the suspension that much. You know, prior to this announcement, I was actually considering figuring out a way to fit this thing with a tow hitch so I could do like a rocket pod trailer, but that's probably not going to be very necessary now. So there you have it. There is my pair of custom HISS tanks for 112 scale G.I. Joe Classified. Honestly, as far as customs vehicles go, they are pretty straightforward builds. They're not terrible. Like most things these days, the fodder is the only difficult part, but this would be a nice, like maybe a nice budget option if you don't have the space or the cash for the HasLab one, or like me, you might be thinking this might fill out the ranks a little bit around that big guy. Regardless, any questions, comments, let me know. Share this bad boy. We'll see if we get some views on it. Thanks for stopping by. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.